Hello everyone, welcome to a Lexmark Solution project update brought to you by me, Eric Doyle, one of the project managers. And today what we're going to cover is the reason this project came about, the opportunities that we have, and how this helps us comply with certain requirements from tech data and ISO standards. So during our ISO audit for last year, Bill, who was an auditor, had gone through the BOL. So BOL signing, as we know, is part of the compliance. So all BOLs have to be signed for the carrier. This is a hard requirement, not flexible. In certain circumstances, we may not have to sign on the TD side, but in this case, this was a carrier issue. So as we know, BOLs are processed. What they happens is once an order is packed out, a paperwork prints out, which is a bill of lading. We need to sign it on the shipping side normally, and we give it to the driver to pick up, to sign during pickup of the trailer. So what happens is once they sign it, they leave it the next day. The lead associate comes in, and they are supposed to BOL scan. So the BOL scan goes into the database for corporate, and they're supposed to check for missing signatures. So in this case, if it's found that they're missing signatures, they're supposed to email to the carrier, so that way they can come back and or re-sign through email. But it's really important. So during random samples, during audits, we found that the BOL signing wasn't consistent enough to suggest compliance. So for this, again, it's 100% compliance on the TD side, and on the ISO side, this is, for product safety during trailers, to know who picked it up, when they picked it up, responsible parties for millions of dollars worth of merchandise. So this proposed solution, through the BOL scan process with Lexmark, will help automatically detect a missing signature, and it does that by looking at the box and making sure that the box is marked in some way. So for the people involved with this project, Mark Murray, who's the main lead because he's an IT consultant with Lexmark, and he works for Tech Data, so he contacts me, and then he takes my response and contacts Lexmark. So he's a bridge between the two. And of course, Derek, who's the director, he signs off on all the major changes and approvals. And of course, the shipping managers, so they want to know this is going to be helpful, not hinder them in any way, obviously cause any issues. And, we go back to Lexmark and Mark, the engineering side, which is Robert. He deals with the analysis regarding any cost improvement, cost analysis, stuff of that nature. So of course the LC associates on the receiving end, they're going to take a lot of the training. We get their feedback along the way. Do they need help with this? And we found that they do. We want to make it easier on them. And of course the Hong, who's the head of quality, signs off on the final paperwork solution. So for the process, in regards to the solution, when I had to pitch a solution, it took about a week to get that out there for Mark to scoop it up. So for the analysis, he takes a couple weeks, to analyze it, see if it's even viable. So the solution, if it's found viable, it gets sent out to Lexmark to say like, hey, is this something that you can do? Lexmark, again, they have a line that they have to take projects in, and so when they found that out, 2 months later, we got the response. So again, the appraisal from Lexmark regarding, if they can really do it, see how much they can implement it, what the cost is going to be. It takes a while, and this is all rolled out with multiple updates and solutions. So this is just one of them. And the approval process takes about 2 months once Lexmark sends that out. So Mark sends me, the information to say, hey, this is getting approved, we're going to process it. And then, of course, finally the creation from that approval process takes about another 2 months for them to create it and implement it across the LCs and just the scope of things. Remember, this is the U.S., all logistics centers, so we're giving ourselves a month time frame for training and implementation to make sure that everything goes perfect as intended, and to make sure that all our associates know that if they're BOL scanning, what to expect and how this helps. So the hurdles that we expect, of course, is the approval. To move on to the next stage, you need to get the approval from the right person. Depending on the stage, the persons vary. So, of course, the editing. So if someone suggests something, especially an approval person, then of course it needs to be edited before it moves on. and this solution is a to get approval. It's a non-critical push, which means that the core business comes before this, so things take a little bit longer for this process. It's not something that is going to be implemented right away in terms of what's most important to the business. And then once again, last hurdle is making sure that everyone accepts it by the training, the input, and the time involved, and making sure that they all agree that this is something that we should do to get that buy-in. And of course, so to get this project going, since we all work in different places across the U.S., between Lexmark, Mark and Corporate, and then me in California, email is our main contact. If we need to, we'll call if it's urgent, but for the most part, email is sufficient. Now, of course, we email when there's any major changes, documentation needs approval, they need to send it to whoever. And then this is when we communicate to let people know that, hey, it's transitioning to the next stage. And of course, Mark does most of the communications. If I need to, I'll communicate with the LCs, and then I'll shoot that back, and then he communicates with Lexmark. And then depending on, who needs what approval or what input, then one of us will do it. So here's what we're looking to get out of the solution. We want to make the process easier for them to identify signatures. We want to make sure that the signature requirement for the carrier is being as close to compliance as possible, so for tech data and ISO. And the main goal is to increase this to the point where we avoid another finding from ISO. So as it become a minor, it'll become a major if they find it the year after the previous year. So basically, in summary, we basically laid out a solution, an opportunity given the problem that these BOLs aren't being signed accurately enough per the tech data standard and ISO standards. So based on the people that are involved, we can move this along to meet the schedule, make sure we communicate and make sure that we're getting this out. And it's really to help the LC associates who are BOL scanning, so that way it makes their job easier. Thank you.